Marriage rates are plummeting across major cities, with 45% of adults now living alone. But here's the twist. New research suggests these singles might be the most psychologically evolved humans among us.
That's such a fascinating perspective, especially since society still treats being single like some kind of temporary condition that needs fixing. What does the research actually tell us about these long-term singles? Well, the data completely challenges our assumptions. Social psychologist Bella DePaulo found that people who are single at heart actually score higher in personal growth, purpose, and creativity than their married counterparts. They're not waiting for life to begin, they're actively choosing a different path. That makes me think about how our generation watched the divorce boom unfold. Like we literally saw our parents' marriages collapse in slow motion.
Exactly. And that's why psychologists are calling it a survival adaptation rather than a failure to commit. For the first time in human history, being unmarried isn't a tragedy. It's a legitimate choice. And that shift from stigma to choice is completely rewriting the psychology of adulthood.
You know what drives me crazy though? Those constant questions at family gatherings. Still single? Like it's some kind of chronic condition.
Oh my gosh, yes. Sociologists actually have a term for that, matrimania. It's this cultural obsession with coupling that shows up everywhere from tax policies to healthcare benefits. But here's where it gets really interesting. The University of Toronto found this huge gender divide in how people experience long-term singlehood.
Let me guess, it affects men and women differently?
Exactly. Single women are actually thriving, reporting higher well-being and better sexual satisfaction. But single men often struggle because they've been conditioned to rely on romantic partners for basically all their emotional support. When they lose that, they lose their therapist, cook, best friend, and emotional translator all at once.
That's not really love though. That's more like emotional dependency, right?
Right. And the neuroscience backs this up in fascinating ways. MRI scans show that people who live alone longer actually develop stronger prefrontal cortex activity, the part linked to self-regulation and creativity. The brain doesn't punish you for being alone, it punishes you for feeling unwanted.
So what you're saying is that when solitude is chosen, it can actually enhance brain function?
Precisely. And this ties into what researchers found in Scandinavian countries, where independence is more normalized. There, single people report similar life satisfaction to married people. It's only in cultures where marriage is treated as a moral expectation that singles report lower satisfaction.
Well, that really challenges everything we think we know about relationships and happiness.
And here's the really crucial part. Psychologists are finding that people who stay single by choice often develop such strong self-sufficiency that it can actually lead to what they call emotional fortification. They become experts at independence, but sometimes struggle with vulnerability and interdependence.
Like building this beautiful fortress of self-reliance, but forgetting how to lower the drawbridge?
Exactly that. But the most successful singles find ways to maintain both autonomy and connection. They create what researchers call flexible independence, keeping their freedom while still cultivating deep friendships and community ties.
So maybe we're asking all the wrong questions about relationships and happiness?
That's exactly it. Instead of asking, why aren't you married yet? We should be asking, have you built a life that feels authentic to who you are? Because the research shows that's what actually predicts well-being. Not whether you have a ring on your finger, but whether you're living truthfully and purposefully.
That really changes the whole conversation around what it means to be successful in relationships.
And that's the real psychological evolution happening right now. Whether someone chooses marriage or singlehood, what matters is making that choice consciously, rather than following social scripts. The healthiest minds build lives where solitude isn't shame and connection isn't captivity. They're just different flavors of belonging.